Hi, Catherine here with Handmade by Circle Art Designs. Today on the mat, I will be working on Project 1 from the June Bargain Bead Box. Project 1 is a lava stone wrap bracelet. This memory wire bracelet is just gorgeous, and it is suitable to use essential oils on. So let's turn our eyes to the mat and get started. And as we turn our eyes to the mat, as always, the first thing is our Simply Grateful our Simply Grateful mat for this summer. Isn't that beautiful? I love this mat. But what I wanted to draw attention to today for Simply Grateful is our 4th of July celebration coming up in this country. I am so thankful that the Lord has put me in this country, that the Lord put me in this time. I know we have our ups and our downs in our country, and the economy isn't the best, and sometimes it seems like things are going awry, and maybe no one is in control, but God is in control. And I am simply grateful to be in a country where I can go on Sunday mornings and worship and meet in people's homes during the week for home group and be able to talk about the Lord in public without worrying about what's happening. I am simply grateful that I was born in this country at this time with these people. How about you? What are you simply grateful for today? All right, now here I am. I'm going, okay, I have to put the mat down, and I am looking with my finger for the center, and let's see if I find it. Okay, I think I have, but I still have to make this a little higher up in focus. People have asked me before, well, why don't you go in and out? Well, I do not have one of the little controls to do that easily. And so when I go in and out, it involves using my fingers to go in and out. And sometimes I could, and sometimes it would even make me sick to have it go in and out. But here you go. I think I have found the center, and I think we're ready to start. Let's look at the supplies we'll need for this bracelet. All right, we're going to start off with these beautiful little 4 to 5 millimeter lava stone beads in bronze. Aren't those beautiful? I just love the bronze on these. They are so pretty. And they come from the June Bargain Bead Box. Isn't that lovely? Now, the next thing for the June Bargain Bead Box are these 6 millimeter white lava stones. Round beads. Aren't they pretty? I have never seen the lava in that color. And then the next from the Bargain Bead Box is that lovely ceramic turtle. They say that is a glazed porcelain turtle. I'll get that right. And that's from the Bargain Bead Box for June. Now, moving on to things from my stash, we have here the little 4 to 5 millimeter in the black lava stone. And then we're going to have some of the 6 millimeter in the black lava stone as well. Then I will be using some 8 millimeter in the black lava stone. And then these beautiful colored little lava stones, and they're also in the 8 millimeter. Now, I only used 2 of these, but I pulled out a lot of colors so I could decide which one I wanted to use in this bracelet. Okay, now, also for this bracelet, let's see. I had pulled out these beautiful round gemstones. I did not use these, and I'll tell you why. I made another bracelet. There's a second bracelet, but it's not shown here. And I used them in that, and they're heavy. So they have a tendency to make it go around. And so I just used the lava stones. Now this is the jewelry tubing in a 2mm. I'm using that in this beautiful dark brown, and I have cut some pieces that are 2 inches and 1 inch. Then as I design the bracelet, I will snip little pieces off where they're too big. And I've also pulled out my little 3mm silver spacer beads. I really like to use the silver spacer beads. Well, I like to use spacer beads all the time. I'm sure if you've watched me for any time, you're going, have to stock up on those spacer beads. But I really love the look of them. I love the shine, and I love the way it breaks up the components and brings just a little bit of silver or gold or bronze, whichever color I use, into the piece. All right, I'm trying to move all this over. Oh, and somewhere I have pulled out my pen. Oh dear. Let's see. Am I going to get a pen and put it back in? I am. I don't even know where I pulled it out at. It must have been in between whenever I was looking for something, and I flipped the camera off and then flipped it back on, and the pen was gone. Oh dear. All right, so here we go. Now again, with this bracelet, you're going to use memory wire. This wrap bracelet, it just wraps around the wrist, and I just love them. They're easy to put on, they're easy to wear, and there's no there's no having to mess with a lobster claw clasp, and I think they're amazing. I have used magnetic clasps on these bracelets before, but that's always when I'm putting a lot of jewelry tubing on it. So now I have gone around 3 times. I've gone 1 inch past where I started, because remember, beads take space, and this will actually, depending on how big your beads are, meet in the middle once all the beads are on them. Now this is excuse me. Sorry about that. That was my daughter's little dachshund, and he has a big bark, and he likes to bark at shadows. I have put him in the other room. All right, so here I'm taking my straight nose pliers, and I am turning a loop onto the memory wire. This will be a loop up. You can make it a loop to the side if you would like, but I had not decided at this point whether I was going to use dangles on it or not. And it's really nice if it's up, if you're going to add dangles to it. Now then, once I get that done, I'm going to take my jewelry tubing, and I like to use my flush cutters for this. This is my old pair in turquoise. My new pair is red and black. And I'm cutting some pieces that I'm going to need for a couple of the bracelets. So I measure my first piece, and then holding it to the curve, you can cut out the rest of your pieces. Now, because this is long term in a circle, it does curve. I mean, you can straighten it out, but it takes a little bit. So I just make sure that the curve matches as I'm going around, and hold it to the curve so that I get a good measurement on this. And this is just a little piece that I have left from a previous roll. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm making sure I have all the pieces that I need. Boy, am I loud today. That was my phone notice, and I thought I had turned it off. It's telling me my husband's equipment from Spectrum is coming in. All right. Here we go. I've got all of those cut, and I'm putting them to one side, and I'm going to start the bracelet. Now this bracelet, I will start with that 3mm spacer ball. I always like to use a spacer ball or a 11-0 on the beginning of the bracelet so that it finishes off that circle. If there is any doubt that circle is not closed, that little bead will close it off. Next, I'm going to take out one of the long pieces. I'm making sure that I've cut them, and it looks like this one I messed up, so I'm going to cut it off again, make sure it's like that, because you're going to need one on each side. And I'm just going to slide on the jewelry tubing. I love this jewelry tubing because it really looks like leather. It wears well. It doesn't lose its look over time, and I just love it. And I think it really dresses up these wrap bracelets. All right, so once I have got that on, just as I have put on a spacer ball on one end, I'm going to put a spacer ball on the other end. But now I'm trying to decide what I want for my bracelet. I don't want it to look exactly like the other one, so I am putting on my colors to see, all right, what do I like? Now, I have tried to put quite a bit of the black lava on this because the black lava is where you can put your essential oils. I don't know what it would do in the color. I've never used the color like the bronze or the white, but with the black lava, you just take your fingertip to your essential oil and put a little drop on there and tap the beads that you want it on. Give it a little dry with waving your hand around, and you have a beautiful scent on that bracelet. So, as I said, I was trying to decide which patterns to go with. I decided to go with the smaller of the two patterns because I didn't want to bulk under my bracelet, under my wrist. So, I have gone with a 3 millimeter spacer ball, a black lava in the 4.5 millimeter, a bronze in the 4.5 millimeter, the 6 millimeter in the white lava, and then I've repeated it down: bronze, black, spacer. And now I'm going to put on, once I check this out and make sure I like what it looks like, one of the small pieces of jewelry tubing to separate this component. Let's see here. Now, so you see black, bronze, white, bronze, black. And now I am looking at the little piece that I have cut previously, and I'm going to go ahead and cut a second one so they will be the same size. You know, if you have done this several times, like you were making gifts for people, or you were making some to go to a show or something like that, you could get a really great assembly line going. But because I am designing this one as I go, I'm trying to be very careful about how much of this tubing, because this tubing, to be quite frank with you, is a little hard to get a hold of these days. And I treasure every little piece that I have to cut off, put it in my little baggie because I might use it again. So I've put about a 1/2 inch tubing on the bracelet, and then another spacer ball. And now I am going to go with the next component in this first round of the bracelet. And the next component will consist of a bronze in the 4 millimeter, a black in the 4 millimeter, a black in the 6 millimeter, a black in the 8 millimeter, and then I'll do 6 millimeter, 4 millimeter, 4 millimeter, and a spacer ball. And I should show you that in just a minute. So now I'm putting on the bronze, which will be the end of the second component for the first round of the necklace. Of the bracelet. You know, I have necklace on the brain. For a long time, I didn't do anything but necklaces because that's what I wear the most. But then I started doing bracelets, and I love them. So let's get this up tight and show you what I'm doing. I want to make sure that when I finish this, that center 8 millimeter is in the center of the loop that I started with, because that's going to be the top of the bracelet. Now here I'm going, I could put a color there. The really nice thing about these colors that I have there is they're like, I don't know what they use, but it's almost like an ink, alcohol ink. And so these color lavas, I know will take the essential oil. I've used those before, and I know that they take the essential oil. I'm just not sure about the white and the bronze, but they're so pretty. And I'm so glad they sent me them, because it gave me an excuse to pull this back out and make some of these, which I haven't done in about a year and a half. And so I really love them. All right, so here we go. I have put on my spacer ball right there. I'm checking to make sure that the jewelry tubing matches, and now I'm going to go back with that first component to finish off the first round of this bracelet. Now you can do as many rounds of a bracelet as you like. I like to do odd numbers because it balances. At least it balances for me. So I will either do a single, or I'll do 3 loops, or I'll do 5 loops. No, that's a fib. I never do 5 loops because if it feels uncomfortable on my wrist. And remember something I told you in a previous video, especially if you're giving these away or selling them, if you feel uncomfortable with your product, it will come through whenever you have it and you're trying to sell it to people or give it away. So I just never do anything but usually a 1 loop or a 3 loop. And one of the reasons I don't do a 2 loop for me is because it makes the closure of the wrap a little awkward on my wrist. And so 1 loop and 3 loops are the ones that I usually do the most of. But, it's individual preference. But since I'm making these to give or sell or wear myself, I want to be comfortable with them so that I know the person receiving will be comfortable with them. And that is the completion of the first round. A component 1 with the white lava as the center, and a component 2 that will sit up high on the top, and that will be the black lava in the center. Now then, for this next piece, I am putting on the black, and then in the little 3-4 millimeter, and then the bronze, and then the white, and come on, get that on there. It's really funny, especially for me, because I wear bifocals. Yes, I do. And sometimes I can't tell which is the hole and which is the little those little modeling on the beads. But this is a white, a black, and a white, followed by the bronze and the black, and then a spacer ball. And I'm going to bring this all the way down, and I'm going to see what it looks like on the beginning of the second ring of this bracelet. And I really like that. Can you see that right there? So it's the 3 millimeter black, the 3 millimeter bronze, the white, and the 5 millimeter or 6 millimeter, the black and the 6 millimeter, the white and the 6 millimeter, a bronze and a black, and then the spacer ball. And that's going to be the beginning of the next round of this bracelet. And while we're setting up, would you take a moment to like and leave a comment for this video? And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to this channel and share. It really does help us to grow. And I want to thank everybody who has done that. I am just amazed. I sat at under 100 people for a long time, and all of a sudden my channel is growing, and I want to really thank you for that. So please like, leave a comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you. So one of the things I like to do whenever I'm working on one of these wrap bracelets is to lay my beads around the circumference of the wire so I can see how they're going to lay. Now the wire I am using has a 2.5 inch diameter, which makes this about a 7.8 inch circumference around. It'll actually stretch some and give the room that you need, whether you have a 6.5 to a probably an 8.5 inch wrist. I like my bracelets to not be tight on the wrist. I want them to fall down on my hand. So here I am looking at the different things that I might do, and I will tell you that I end up always putting them on the ring and trying them out. And this is where I decided that the beads, the gemstone beads, at least for the lava, because remember, lava is very lightweight and it's easy to wear. You can forget you have it on your wrist. But the gemstones are heavier, and even 3 gemstones were too much for this bracelet. But I wanted to show you what it looked. If you're going to use gemstones, I would take out some of the lava and I would put gemstones all the way around the bracelet, not only on the center, but also some on the outside. And I would stagger them in the design so that you would have an even weight going around that bracelet. But like I said, I really wanted to use the gemstones. I have one where I have used the gemstones, and it was just too much. And then about this point, I remembered, oh wait, this is the one I was going to use the porcelain ceramic piece on for the little turtle. So I will take these off and I will show you what I ended up doing. Just a second. So I've taken them off and I go, oh yeah, I have this turtle I wanted to use. Silly me. I put the turtle on the first one. I don't know why I forgot it here. And I got so excited that I have just got this thing all messed up. But the lovely thing about this wire is it has a memory, and it'll go, oh yes, this is what you really need to do. You know that's what you really need to do. All right. So when I am building the center of this piece, okay, I am going to decide what I want as my color. And I'm playing with all the colors. I will tell you, I ended up using this orangey brown so that it went better with the turtle. So I am putting on, for this next piece, I have put on, starting with the spacer bead, the 3mm black, the 3mm bronze, the 6mm black, the 6mm white, an 8mm in the colored stone. Then I have put on a spacer ball, the turtle, and a spacer ball, and then I'm going to repeat it back down the side. So it looks just like this. Again, spacer, black 3mm, bronze 3mm, 6mm black, 6mm white, 8mm in the color, a spacer, the ceramic turtle, a spacer ball. Then going back down, I have the 8mm, the white 6mm, the black 6mm, the bronze, the black, and a spacer ball. And that is how it looks. And they should line up. And that's what I'm checking. Did my tops line up? Now, they won't necessarily line up on your wrist because like I said, it's a 2.5. It ends up being a 7.8, but it can stretch all the way out to an 8.5. So once I have got that on, I am going to go ahead and put on another one of the components that was the black in a 3, the bronze in a 3, the white in a 6, the black in a 6, the white in a 6, the bronze in a 3, the black in a 3, and a spacer. And then I'm going to put on one of those 2-inch jewelry tubes. I'm sorry I did that so fast that you couldn't see it. But basically what I'm doing is I'm going and repeating all the way, starting in the middle with the turtle and going back down the bracelet till I get to where I want to have my jewelry tubing wire. Now then, I'm going to lay out for the next bracelet. And this is real simple because what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy exactly what I did on the first round. So it will be the black 3mm, the bronze 3mm, the white 6, the bronze 3, the black 3, and a spacer. So you can look at your first round and complete it exactly the same way on your third round. So remember, check, you should have already cut your jewelry tubing for the first one, and you should have cut a second pair. If you notice, I cut 4 of them, not 2 of them. So you have that 1/2 inch there for your jewelry tubing to go across when you get up to the top of this third bracelet. And then you're going to go on around and copy it. And so we're going to start out with the bronze, the black in the bronze and black in the 3mm, the 6mm in the black, the 8mm in the black, then the black and a 3mm, the bronze and a spacer. So, and that should be the very, very top of your bracelet. And let's go ahead and get them on. Bronze, black, then the black in the 6, the black in the 8, the black in a 6, the black in the 3, and the black and the bronze in the 3 and the spacer. And let's see if these line up. Remember, they should line up when you look at them or come real close to lining up, but then they will do something different when you wear them. And that's okay because it's beautiful. and it's going to smell nice too if you put the essential oils on it. So now I have again, that 1/2 inch that I am separating, and then I'm going to go ahead and just finish this with the first component that we did. Isn't that pretty? I just love the look of this, and it looks so pretty on. I'll show you pictures at the end. And this one will go up in the shop. I have one that I have made that I'm keeping for myself, and because I want to put my own essential oils on it and move my wrist in front of my nose and smell lovely. You know, back in the 17 and 1800s, they had little nosegays that they would hold around, and they would hold it up to their nose because, you know, sanitation was not the best. And they would smell that, and it was calming to their spirit, and it helped eliminate or at least mask the odors around. And these beautiful lava bracelets here, they do kind of the same thing, depending on what the oil is that you like to put on them. It's just that moment that the nose breathes in and your nervous system and your mind go, oh, that's good. We have a moment of calm in a sea of craziness right now. So now then, I have ended with the 2-inch jewelry tubing, and I have put on my spacer ball so that I can turn up this bracelet. I've checked to make sure everything's lined up. I have just a teeny bit more wire than I want, so I'm cutting that off. Always turn it away from you when you cut it, so that unless you have a third hand, because you need to, that's going to fly when you cut it, and you don't want it flying up in your face and hurting your eye or any other part of your body. So turn it away from you to the mat. Now I've used my straight nose pliers, made a circle, used my round nose pliers, my curved nose pliers, and close that up. And this bracelet is finished. Isn't that lovely? Now let's put it on and see how it looks. Wrap it around because it is a wrap bracelet. And there it is. Now see, when I told you they wouldn't exactly sit up straight when you put it on, and that's okay. They're close and it looks beautiful. And then because you put that tubing on the bottom, it makes it easy for your wrist to lay on a desk or on a chair without it digging into you. I think it's a great hint and I love it. I just stumbled on it by accident years ago, and I am very consistent about keeping it thin and uncluttered on the back of my wrist. And here is the finished product. Isn't that lovely? Thank you so much for joining me today on this beading adventure. I will not have a Friday video, at least I have not planned one unless it's a short, because Thursday is 4th of July here, and we are doing things with family and friends. Isn't that lovely? I pray that you have an amazing rest of your week, that your 4th of July, if you are here in the United States, is one filled with joy and family and friends, and that you have just a break in your everyday life. What a blessing from God. And here are the pictures. God bless you, God keep you safe, and I'll see you next week. This will be up in the shop at circleartdesigns.net. God bless y'all.